Hello everyone and welcome to this webinar about cable, pipes and wires. First of all, thank you for joining. The agenda today is that I will start explaining just very shortly about Tantec, our company, and what industries are we working in. And then our colleague in the US, Jeff, will take over and talk about his experience within this field, his experience about treating cable and pipes and what we can offer within this. And then after him, I will be here again with some Q&A. So if you have any questions during the presentation, please write them in the comments, or we will take them after the presentation from Jeff. Thank you. So first, I will talk a little about Tantec. We are a quite old company. Next year we will have a 50 years old anniversary, so we are from 74. We are placed in Denmark, where we have been since the founding of the company. We produce plasma and corona equipment, and we are having the full palette of products, so working in atmospheric plasma, vacuum plasma, and also corona treatment. Meaning that when we have the full palette of different technologies, we are able to offer the one that suits your application and your production lines best. So that's a big advantage. The businesses, the industries we work in, the two largest is the automotive industry and the medical industry. And then we have a lot of various industries, and within this cable, wire and pipes are one of the largest ones. So it's very common that you need to use plasma or corona to treat cables before printing or before coating in some cases. We are present in the most of the world. Most places it's through agents. At the moment we are placed in around 35 countries around the world. So we cover basically all continents and most of the countries in the world. Again, we are placed here in Denmark. All production is also here in-house in Denmark. And that gives a big advantage that we have it all here in-house. We have a lot of experience, and we know a lot about the different options and the different possibilities for special products to fit in your production line. So we have a good range of standard products, but we are also very, you can say, experienced within building customized machines. In fact, we are just growing. The business is growing. So at the moment, in June we will open a 800 square meter new production facility to extend the one we have already. So we're looking very much forward to that. So before Jeff goes on and talk a little about his experience within this field, I will just show you a very short video about Tantec, so it gives a better idea about what we're doing and so on. But we will see this video, then Jeff will come on, and then we will see you for the Q&A. Thank you.
At Tantec, we consider ourselves as a close-knit team with big achievements. We know that our solutions make a difference in the daily operations of your industry, which is why Tantec sets our standards high when it comes to reliability and efficiency. This has made Tantec the top manufacturer of ready-made plasma and corona systems. We also know that your industry is always progressing forward, and so should our solutions. As a result, innovation is a big part of what we do at Tantec, and we've been doing it since 1974. With more than 4,000 custom surface treatment solutions delivered over the past 40 years, our standards must and are continually being raised when it comes to maintaining our reputation as innovation leaders. That's why our solutions are so appreciated, and we are able to offer improved, more reliable results when it comes to coating, bonding, wetting, printing, painting, and cleaning. Headquartered in Denmark with our own U.S. office and represented in 30 countries, we deliver worldwide solutions to both end users and OEMs. So no matter where you are, we are always close by and able to offer that ready or custom-made solution your company needs. Tantec, a better way to solving your adhesion problems.
Thank you very much. Hi everyone, my name is Jeff Gratis and I run the Tantec office in North America. We handle all the sales and service for North America out of our Chicago office. Today we're going to be doing a webinar on the advantages of plasma and corona treatment in the cable, wire, and pipe industry. As you might have experienced in your past with coating and printing on cables or pipes or anything along those lines, the difficulty in adhering your ink or maybe putting a coating over those surfaces is definitely challenging with low surface energies like materials like polyethylene, polypropylene, PEX, PTFE. All of those types of plastics make it very difficult to get print quality, print adhesion on the surface, and in some cases even coating the surface. We also do a little bit of wire cleaning as well. Metal wire can be cleaned by using an atmospheric plasma system, doing more of a fine cleaning or microorganic removal on the surface. In terms of the piping industry, in Europe we do a lot of work with the district piping, large pipes for adhering foam for insulation purposes. And in the US market we do a lot with printing on larger PVC type pipes for markings or identification, anything along those lines on the larger diameter surfaces, typically looking for a small print area for an identification, as well as on the cable for the aircraft industry as well, focusing on very, very focused, tight areas of print to ensure that it's easily identifiable on the cable itself. So why do we typically use surface treatment and how do we solve adhesion problems here at Tantec? Typically, you're going to want to look at either a plasma or a corona surface treatment process to provide a nice, even, uniform treatment all the way across the entire surface, if that's what you're looking for. In many cases, there are cables that might be getting a coating put on them, or maybe the pipe needs some sort of protective coating based on what it might be exposed to in the environmental conditions it's installed in. Tantec can provide a corona or plasma surface treatment solution that will treat 360 degrees of the cable itself or the pipe itself, ensuring that that uniformity is throughout and consistent on the surface. Other areas on cable and pipe and wire industry is that, as I mentioned earlier, the focus on printing a small area with an inkjet printer or putting some sort of small marking on the part, not necessarily focusing treatment all the way across the part itself. So again, there we can use both plasma and corona in an inline application. Plasma giving a very, very focused half-inch coverage area. With corona, we can treat maybe 180 degrees of the part or a smaller area. So that allows us to really focus on where you want the treatment to take place, as well as smaller parts that maybe we're gluing an end to the surface itself. We can treat just those ends as opposed to the entire part. We can do large, as I mentioned, district pipe projects where we're treating pipes that might be a couple of feet in diameter, as well as we can do extremely small parts that might be more in the medical size for attaching a module to the end of a tube or a pipe or something along those lines. So don't let your size of your part inhibit or may give you concern on whether or not corona or plasma can provide the level of treatment you're looking for. We can do both large and small parts. As I touched on briefly a few moments ago on metal cleaning of wire. We get a lot of requests for bare wire being pushed through and trying to remove any processing oils or buildup that happens during the manufacturing process. That can be done with our atmospheric plasma system. It's going to be more of a micro cleaning or an organic removal cleaning process. So any heavy or caked on material won't be removed by the plasma, but fine debris or buildup of oils on the surface can be removed or blasted off by the plasma process. We get a lot of questions related to the effect. Will it cause the insulation of the cable to break down? Will it cause the surface integrity of the pipe to be weakened by the result of plasma or corona surface treatment? Plasma or corona surface treatment both only strip away or work on the high level molecule, the top layer molecule of the surface. So the structural integrity, the look, the feel, the cosmetics of the part itself are not affected or altered by a surface treatment process from Tantec. Many cases, by the naked eye, you can't see anything has been done to the surface. You need some sort of measurement device to ensure that you can see that the change has been made, as well as the final product when you go and do your scratch test or your peel test or your coating test to ensure that the surface has been modified properly, but it doesn't alter the overall effects of your part or the integrity of your part, if you will. Using a plasma or corona surface treatment system is typically seen as a very cost-effective way of improving value to your product. Typically, all we are asking for is the use of air and electricity. In most cases, that's only going to cost you maybe $1 or $2 per day in usage, as opposed to maybe putting a primer on the surface, which is typically seen as a environmentally friendly process. You're putting a lot of chemicals, you're inducing or introducing this to your operators of a chemical that's giving off VOCs that more and more states are outlawing, and more operators don't want to be exposed to those gases. In a Tantec system, everything is built into the machine itself. Operators are not exposed to anything hazardous when the system is put in place and the system is running. Everything is self-contained inside the machine itself. So some of the products that we tend to work on that require plasma and corona surface treatment, water pipes, gas pipes, sewer pipes, heating and cooling pipes, any type of product that needs something wrapped around the outside or some sort of identifying marking put on there. We can even treat the inside of larger pipes as well. Let's say a coating needs to be put in there to make the ability to use a cheaper plastic, but putting a corrosion resistance coating in there based on the chemical that's going through. So when it comes to pipes, inside and outside treatment is typically not a problem for us. We've done a variety of different projects. And then we go into more of the cable and wire industry, dealing with optical fibers, multi-conductor cables, cross-extruded materials, and then the bare metal wires as well. Typically on the wire industry, we're doing more of a marking or maybe just a simple coating on the surface based on what they're going to be exposed in. A lot of cables and wires are submerged in oils and things like that are very, very aggressive on the surface. So we want to make sure that that ink has the ability to fully adhere and not come off. So when you take it out of those areas, you're able to identify what those cables are. Another thing to keep in mind is the idea of the end of the cable or the pipe needing some sort of connector or additional product joined to the surface. That's where Tantec can come up with solutions that will treat just the exterior edges of the part, allowing for those connectors to be attached or glued onto the surface, as well as the inside of those tubes or parts as well, those pipes, or maybe you're trying to adhere something to the inside. Those edges are something that Tantec has a lot of experience in, just treating those focused areas, as opposed to treating the entire part or the cable as it passes by on an extrusion or a reel-to-reel process. Tantec also has the ability to do individual cables or pipes. So just let us know what you're looking for. Tantec can typically find a solution that will work for your application, your process, and maybe be able to provide more than one solution for you. So this image you see on the slide here, this is showing what happens with the ink when you print on a part that has not been treated versus a part that has been treated. This is a typical test that is done in the industry. It's a tape pull test, and what we're looking for is to see how much of the ink is coming off during the tape test. This is typically found for your quality testing process to ensure that when you do put an ink down, some sort of marking or coating on the cable or wire, that you don't run into a case where during vibration or handling of the cable, the marking comes off and now you no longer have the identifier to know what the cable is rated for, what the cable is being used for. Same with the pipes as well. In many cases, there might be a burst rating or something along those lines on there. We want to make sure that that information that's critical to the product itself remains in place after the product has been recoiled and after the product is then put in the field. So in the before treatment image here, you see the Tantec print test information. This has been done in simulating a inkjet process. The tape is then applied to the surface and then pulled back. And what we're looking for is how much of that ink is still on the surface of the cable itself. You can see in the before treatment, most of the ink is pulling away at that point. That would then lead you to have major concerns that whatever you're printing on your cable or pipe, when it gets rewound or coiled back up, or when it gets handled in the field, that it's not going to maintain the information that you're putting on there. The one that you see in the after, that's showing what we would expect to see after a corona or plasma surface treatment. When you go and pull that ink back, we want to see the ink adhering to the plastic itself or the cable, wire, or pipe, and doesn't peel back. We're looking for that print quality and that resolution to remain. So not only do we look for the adhesion, but we're also looking to improve the print resolution as well. We want to make sure we get nice fine droplets on the surface that make it easy to pick up a QR code or pick up a date code very easily. QR codes, as you might imagine, have become very popular, especially as the COVID world has come around, where we want contact-free or touchless applications. Now we can simply take our phone and pick up a QR code and know more about that product. So we're seeing more and more QR codes being placed on products like this, where we're able to just scan that and get the information we need. So some of the technologies we use in the cable, pipe, and wire industry, one of them is our SpotTech system. This is an arc-blown corona process where we have two opposing electrodes blow out a corona field onto the surface itself. Typically, this is reserved for non-conductive materials and slower moving products. So maybe larger pipes that have a print area only 50 or 60 millimeters tall, the SpotTech might do a great job there because those larger pipes don't move quite as fast as some of the thinner gauge wires that are running through there. What it's doing there is simply etching the surface to allow your ink to go ahead and adhere and lock onto the pipe itself. You can put multiple heads if you wanted to treat 360 degrees. The key here is obviously we want to make sure we're not doing a high speed with this. We're looking for more of a low speed application. As you tend to look forward to a higher speed application, we might look at our atmospheric plasma system. An atmospheric plasma system will run in the hundreds of meters per minute type range, where we have a very, very focused plasma discharge right on the area where you're going to be placing the ink or the identifying code onto the surface itself. Atmospheric plasma works on 110 volt or 230 volt single phase voltage and only requires somewhere between 70 to 90 psi in order to run the system. We move on to more of a higher speed corona based system where we're trying to treat 360 degrees. We would look at our CableTech system. This is designed for smaller gauge, 10 millimeter in diameter and smaller type wire running through there. Passes through, and we have two electrodes that will allow the full treatment of the part as it passes through at speeds in some cases up to 600 meters per minute, depending on the treatability of the part itself. Other areas that we can do with our corona is modifying the electrodes to do more stainless steel ball type electrodes, where we're treating a larger than 10 millimeter diameter cable, and we want to create the discharge and have it wrap around the surface, one from the top, one from the bottom, as the parts are going through. So as you can see, there's a variety of different technologies available from Tantec in order to help improve the print and the coating process on your cable, wire, or pipe. One thing we always like to stress to our customers is, yes, we do change the surface energy. That's our way of measuring and verifying that something has been done to the surface. But we always want to make sure that you go through and actually do your quality control test to ensure that our change in surface energy equates to your improved process and your ability to pass your quality control tests. After this webinar is over, you'll receive a copy of this presentation where you'll be able to take a look at some of these cases, as well as on our website. This is a case from one of our cable manufacturers talking about some of the difficulties and financial losses that can occur from poor print quality, poor adhesion, and then adding a Tantec CableTech or a Tantec Corona solution provides a great deal of improvement in the process, resulting in more efficient processing of your material, less scrap, and overall better quality. And then this image here that you see for this case is showing what we do on some of the larger type diameter cables and pipes, where we're creating that wraparound effect. This particular customer had typically is working with a airplane cable that is going to have a lifespan of somewhere to 20 to 30 years. So it's extremely important that the ink adherence lasts the life of the part. And that's what a corona or plasma surface treatment solution will allow you to do, is maintain that integrity of your quality of your product and get it to last the life of the part, so that if there are regulations for where you're installing this product, you're able to pass and meet those stringent requirements that otherwise would not be passed simply by the ink peeling off. So certainly keep corona or plasma in mind to help you achieve those types of quality levels that you need to get to. And then here we're going to watch a quick video on the cables and pipes, showing an animation of the different technologies you've reviewed here. So you can take a look at that, and then after that completes here, we'll go ahead and turn it over to the question and answer section.
Thank you, Jeff, for this presentation, and thank you for sharing your experience with these machines and these applications. So now we will go to the Q&A. We already got some questions in the chat during the presentations. If you have more questions, please write them in the chat, and then we will take them up here. But we will just start with the ones we got during the presentation. So the first one is why use cable tech instead of a plasma nozzle? It's a good question because in some cases you can use a cable tech station or a plasma tech nozzle. So if you want to treat one side, then the plasma tech nozzle can be quite good, but the nozzle also have a limitation in speed, where on the cable station you can have 360 degrees treatment, and also we can make the electrode longer, so you can go up in a higher speed. So it depends a little on the cable and the speed, and if it's just for a print or if you need a 360 degrees treatment. So both in some cases can be used for the same product, and in some cases it depends on the product, the speed and the treatment you want to do. And the second one we got is, can we use the same machine for cable and pipes? Again, in some cases, yes. It depends on the cable or pipe dimension. If we go with the ceramic electrodes, and it's a pipe or cable maximum 10 millimeters, then in most cases we are able to use the same machine. And if it's only for one side treatment and you don't have it's on a pipe, you're also able to use the same machine. So it depends on the machine, but in most cases, yes, you can use the same. Then the next one, sometimes you use corona head and sometimes you use plasma nozzles. Why? Yeah, plasma nozzles is treating around 12 millimeters wide, but at a very high speed you can go up to around 100 meters per minute, where the corona nozzle, the corona head, treats 50 to 60 millimeters wide, but the maximum speed is around 20 meters per minute. So it depends a little on what your need is. They put out approximately the same power, but you can say on the plasma it's a more concentrated area, and that's why you can go faster. So if you only need to print 5 millimeters text, then and you need to go it at a quite high speed, then the plasma nozzle is good. If you have a larger pipe with slower production speed, maybe 10 meters per minute, then a spot tech corona head can be a good solution. So it depends a little on the speed you have and what you want to print on it, the size of it. Yeah. So this was the 3 questions we got. Are there any other questions? Seems there are no one at the moment. But if you have any questions you don't want to share here, or yeah, in general you get some questions afterwards, then please contact us, and we will try to answer your questions. Also, if you have samples you want to be tested, then please contact us, and you can ship them to us and have a free test of your sample, so we can see what kind of machine we can offer, which one suits your product and your production line the best. So please contact us for any questions, and thank you for today.